Well, there's a nice happy start to the walk. I've just been to have a look at Rochdale's only truly wild cowslips, and once again North West Water, or United Utilities, whatever they call themselves, have mown them to oblivion. Well done. Right folks, I am currently walking through the Python Valley. I've set off from home today. It's a bit of a last minute trip this. I didn't fancy going so far, so I've had this one up my sleeve for a while. I'm going to walk to Milner's Eyes Point, which is Whitehill on the Pennine Way. And I said on a walk a few camps ago that I'm going to wild camp on there this spring hopefully. Well, today's the day. Although it doesn't feel very spring-like, it's cold. Easterly wind. But a few signs of spring, bird-wise, and a few swallows. Quite a few willow warblers singing, a few more must have come in. Can you see the sort of rudimentary paving here that I'm walking on, this rammed stone? This is a very old route across the moors, this, called the Rapes Highway. And it goes between Milner on the Lancashire side and Marsden on the Yorkshire side. And I'm going to be following this for quite a bit today. Here's a bit of like proper sets. Well, it is nice to be out today because I've had a bloody shocker of a week. I think I'm being made redundant, which isn't quite as horrendous as it sounds. I do have sort of options, shall we say, and it's not written in stone, but I think that's the way things are going. And that will be from, if it comes to anything, it'll be from September onwards. So if I do need to look for a job, I do have, I don't know, about, hang on, 3 or 4 months. The $64,000 question is, what job? Bloody hell, I've worked in school since, well, 23 years. Kind of don't know much else. But if I am being made redundant, I think it'd be a good opportunity for me to get out of education. I like the job I'm doing now. It's a pastoral role, and I've done that for a few years. I like that, but no way, Jose, am I going back into teaching. Hated teaching. So I've got to come up with a plan. I've got to come up with some ideas. If I am made redundant, what can I do instead? I'd like to do something, I don't know, maybe something a bit different. I'm getting on a bit now though, so I'm in my 50s now, so maybe not quite so easy to find the perfect job. Just on this flat bit of land here, there's if you look on old maps, there used to be a building called Peggywell House, and I'm talking on maps from about 1840s maybe, and I like to think of it some sort of like refreshment stop for the old travellers crossing over the moors in the early to mid 1800s. I'd love to see an old photo of it as well. So we've reached the valley of Readycon, and I'm going to follow a track or a thin path up the left hand side of the res, and at the head of the valley is the Yorkshire border and the watershed and the Pennine Way. Actually, I've got my borders slightly wrong. I'm just in Yorkshire now, I'm in Saddleworth, and the border is just at the top of this hill up here. I'm just having a little stop at the head of Readycon. It's I'm going to get to where I want to pitch the tent so early, so I'm just going to, walk up there. I'm going to just slow down a little bit. I'm just looking ahead over there. It's looking a bit like streaks in the sky, so it might rain, but it did forecast showers. It is also quite chilly. I've put this thin overcoat on and my hat. Yeah, when you stop and when that sun goes in, yeah, it's May in I don't know, about 3 or 4 days. Walking through this valley, Readycon Dean, it reminds me of a little incident when me and Lee were doing a walk when we were lads. And we were walking to Black Hill, one of our big walks from home, one of our 20 odd milers. And the track through this valley was our main way of getting onto the Pennine Way, which we would then follow south to Saddleworth Moor and Black Hill. We didn't really know any other way. And when we got into the valley, we were dismayed to see this sign that said, like, trackway, footpath closed. Bloody northwest water again. And literally, it was about a 10-yard section of track, and we could have got through quite easy. Anyway, we were just about to go through, and this chap front water, excuse me, crumb in my throat. This chap, this chap front waterboard pulled up, and he said, "Pass closed, lads. You can't go through there." Anyway, we weren't really arguing, but we sort of said, "Come on, it's only like a 10-yard section." And then we're right to the side. Anyway, he started to bristle, and his eyes started to narrow, and he said to us, "Don't push me, lads." So we didn't push him anyway. We like walked out onto the moor and pretended we were going a different direction, but we just hung about till we thought he'd gone. Anyway, we rejoined the path and carried on. And then we saw his van again, and he saw exactly what we did, but he didn't come over and beat us up or anything. Just look at this cup of tea I've made here. I forgot I put what they call them, electrolytes things in my water. Look what it's done to my brew. Still gonna sup it. I've just crossed, just crossed back into Lancashire, back into Milner, and I'm following the boundary fence. You can see that over my shoulder somewhere. Yorkshire on the other side of that fence. And I'm going to follow this up to the Pennine Way, and then I'm just going to drop down to Brook and I'll get some water. Whitetail is not far off, just up there. Oh, it's really got colder up here. I've got the Kestrel with me, and the sun's not been out for a while, and I've been forced to wrap up. Whoever put this stone here deserves a bloody medal. Right, so we're all pitched up on White Hill. There's the tent, and I've also got company. Can you see the tent there? That's Michael doing the Pennine Way. Don't get company very often, certainly not from people I don't know. Where's a trig point? Oh yeah, there's a trig point as well. White Hill, the highest point in the old Township of Butterworth, or Milner New Way. 466 metres I think, just slightly lower than Blackstone Edge. White Hill's a good viewpoint, and I'll show you some of the places you can see from here. Just above my finger there is Winter Hill, and in that sort of general direction as well, before you get there, this is the Pennine Way, just working its way down here northwards. You're looking towards the big Lancashire, the old cotton mill towns of Rochdale and Bolton in that direction. Above my finger there is Manchester. You can see the skyscrapers, I suppose. They're throwing them up at a fair rate nowadays. Earlier today in that sort of gap you could see Shuttling Slough and Shining Tor on the western fringes of the Peak District. But anyways, it's looking a bit dark down there that way now. Now I'm sort of looking southwest. There is Black Hill, and I think over to that side, I think that's Kinder Scout, sort of the western side of it, looking towards it, sort of the downfall side of it. There's West Nab, extreme eastern edge of Saddleworth Moor overlooking Meltham. This rise in the background, that's Western Edge, where I've camped a few times actually. It's nice up there, you hardly ever see anybody up there. I'm not sure if you're picking this out, very faint. Ingleborough's there, Blackstone Edge there, and just peeping over Blackstone Edge is Pendle Hill, and that's pretty much a 360-degree view. Skies are looking pretty dark all around really, but there's a nice sort of circle of blue up here, which is pretty good. I'm just going to go over to the tent now. I think I'm just going to relax for a bit. I'm going to feel like a right muppet talking in front of Michael here. I'm just looking at these paths here that are heading west off the top of White Hill, and one of them, the one on the left that I just pointed to, leads directly down to the upper part of Readycon Dean. Now I didn't come that way, I came from the south on the Pennine Way, but I just pointed out a thin trod to the right of that one, and that heads over an area of the moor. It's either Millstone Hill and Millstone Moss. Whenever I see the name Millstone anywhere, I always wonder if millstones were quarried there. You know, like on Stanage in the Peak District, you can still find the discarded millstones. And just south of here is a Millstone Edge, where Ammon Wrigley described a couple of discarded millstones on there. Years and years ago, it must have been the 1990s, I once spent a bitter cold winter's day trying to find these two millstones that Ammon Wrigley wrote about on Millstone Edge, and I couldn't find them. I think he was describing them in 1912. 90 years later, maybe they'd grassed over, the moors sort of claimed them back. I've just been talking to Michael, this chap from near Munich. I said earlier he's on the Pennine Way, and I've probably been boring him to death about my Pennine Way experiences in 1990. Probably sound like a right airbag. But he's a really nice bloke. I've enjoyed talking to him. In fact, I'm quite envious. So tomorrow we'll both head north to Rippenham Road if we go at the same time. Then I'll have to tootle off down past Windy Hill to Daldrum and back home, and he's going to be striding out resolutely northwards on the Pennine Way. I wish I could do that. And he's staying somewhere really good tomorrow night. He's staying at the little campsite, the New Delight Inn at Jack's Bridge near Epton Stall. And I were really selling it to him. I was telling him about the right good beer there and the good food and the fantastic location in Calderdale. Earlier on I pointed out, what's it called? Western Edge. Now, Western Edge is the northernmost place, I think, where you will see a mountain hare in England. You might get them on the Isle of Man, mainland England. Forget the Isle of Man. And the reason that this is the northwards limit is because of the barrier of the M62. Now, for years I'd never seen a mountain hare north of Black Moss Res on the Pennine Way south of here. And then a couple of winters ago I went up onto Millstone Edge and I flushed one, lovely white one. I couldn't believe it, never seen one this far north. Absolutely staggered, chuffed to bits with that. And then literally almost 12 months to the day, back on Millstone Edge, I flushed one again, and I'm assuming it's the same one. Well, I don't know, there might be a little tiny population up here, but up here, Waston Edge is a long way from the bulk of the mountain hares on Saddleworth Moor, Bleaklow, Kinder, Derwent Edges. But yeah, I cannot see one ever finding a way across the M62. Now historically though, I've got a booklet at home about the mountain hares in the Peak District and South Pennines. And there were a few records prior to the M62 on Rishworth Moor just over there. But no, you don't get them in the Dales, you don't get them in the Lake District, you don't get them in Wales, I don't think. No, I'm pretty sure you don't get them in Wales. I'm not even sure you get them in like the Southern Uplands and Galloway Hills. North of the Peak District, you're not going to see them again until you get to the Highlands, I think. Right, well it's just turned 11:05. I think I'm going to try and get some sleep soon. I don't feel particularly tired, but I'm comfortable. I might nod off. I spent a good while outside before it went dark, watching the sunset, which were lovely. But since I've come back in the tent, I've been snacking, drinking, listening to a couple of podcasts. One of them about, do you remember the murderer and kidnapper from years ago, Michael Sams? I listened to something about him, and I listened to something about Are We Alone in the Universe? It's very, very quiet outside in terms of moorland birds. At this time of year, you kind of expect to hear a few more noises. I've heard a few little things, a distant curlew and stuff, but this cold weather we've been having lately is definitely seems to be putting the number of birds back or down far quieter than I'd expect up here at this time of year. Right, like I said, I'm going to try and get some sleep now, and I shall speak to you in the morning. Good night. Morning folks, it's just turned 7:05. Well, I've been awake a while really, I think since about 5:15. I slept okay up till about 3:30, but struggled a bit since then. The weather outside, crap. I'm sure that weren't forecast at all. I've just had some really heavy showers and like gusty winds, really rattled the tent. So I'm going to take my time this morning, there's no rush. Pretty close to home. There is a like metal shipping containers at near Windy Hill, where the Pennine Way crosses Rippenham Road. If that's open, I'm going to get something to eat there. I'm going to get some breakfast. But yeah, I'll speak to you in a bit. So I'm on my way now, and I'm on a section of the Pennine Way that crosses an area of moor called Axletree Edge. Interesting name that. Now, for 3 years in a row, from 2008 to 2010, Axletree Edge was a stop-off point for small trips of dotterel. And those of you who are familiar with dotterel know what a cool bird they are. They're a wading bird that breeds in the Highlands of Scotland, Cairngorm Plateau, an absolutely gorgeous looking wading bird, probably our nicest looking wader. And they, when they're migrating north, they're a migratory bird. When they're coming back to the UK, they tend to stop on traditional spots year in, year out. Pendle Hill was a favourite. Anyway, for 3 years in a row, like I said, they stopped here for a few days, and I used to come up after work. Oh, what a lovely experience spending time with them. They're quite a tame wading bird. I weren't massively into my photography then, but I do have a picture of one. I'll have a look at it again. If it's adequate, I'll post it. It's a bit blurry, I think, and dark. So ahead is the way one for me. I follow this path down here, just see it there, skitting round Windy Hill, and then I go over the next hill. It's like a bit of an undulating descent back to New Way. This hill here, Windy Hill, it was a hot spot for Mesolithic traces. Oh, I'm just getting a bit distracted. I've just seen a couple of strange birds down there. I think the skylarks, that's all. Yeah, Windy Hill here, yeah, a lot of flints have been found there in the past. Nowadays though. I do love my local countryside, but it is so blighted by two main things. But Windy Hill there, I got talking to some poor blokes having to move a massive pile of fly-tipped asbestos. How bad's that? Fly tipping is bad, full stop, but asbestos. I hate fly tipping, real big problem around here on these roads over at Moors. And here I'm coming to a section of the path that's been absolutely churned to buggery by illegal off-road bikers. They really do piss me off. Really selfish bastards they are. And I'm just coming up to something here. It looks like, I don't know, it's got here, like an upturned vehicle or something. I'll show you in a minute. I took a little bit of a detour back there to have a look at the ruin of Windy Hill because I've noticed when I've been travelling up the M62 heading into Yorkshire, there's a big static caravan there. I thought, I wonder if someone's doing it up. Anyway, the static caravan looks a bit of a tip, and how you do that up, the access to it is terrible. In fact, I don't know how they got a static caravan there. That's up there with Stonehenge. Windy Hill used to have this gorgeous date stone, 1686, absolutely lovely. Oops, crikey. I used to always come up, and if I was passing I'd take a picture of it or just admire it, and then I'd come up once, yep, you've guessed it, somebody had stole it. Yeah, it was crushing blow that. It's probably sitting pretty in someone's garden. I'll see if I've got no picture of that. Yeah, I'll see if I can dig out a picture of that. Should have a few, I think. This hill over my left shoulder here is interesting. It's called Nicholas Pike, and I think it's once upon a time it was a special hill that locally, and the reasons why. Well, the name Nicholas Pike, and it's an old name that appears on maps from the 1840s. Probably goes back further than that. But also on the top, the main interesting feature is like a fallen standing stone. So I don't know why that'd be put up there. Would it be just some sort of guidepost, a marker? There's no trackway over it, but I suppose it could have been a marker if seen from afar. And also on the top are a couple of granite erratics. Now, erratics are boulders that have been moved by glaciers from one area to another. So we don't get granite round here, all our rocks are sedimentary. The nearest source of granite, I think, is probably Eskdale, possibly Shap. But if you do look at these boulders, if you get a freshly broken surface, you can see the crystals a bit better. It doesn't look like Shap granite. But yeah, it's probably come from lakes anyway. So I'm nearly home now. I'm back at the ruin of Raghole in the Python Valley. Ogden Res is just down there, so 20 minutes home. So I think now's a good time to do me farewells. I'm going to apologise again for sort of some of the background tone of this trip. It's been quite negative, hasn't it, and gloomy, but I've talked about a lot of things that irritate me on this trip, but this is sort of the norm in the South Pennines sometimes. It's fair game for like dickheads. But yeah, I mean, why can't people be nice? Not a lot to ask, is it? Right, so yeah, I'm going to just toddle along the bottom of this wood over here, and then I've got like a lane that's going to take me back into Newgate, and that's me done and dusted. Despite all my moaning and groaning, I've really enjoyed this trip. The camp spot there were really nice. Some nice pictures up there, perfect for Pennine Way wild campers. And it was lovely to meet Michael, the German chap. I had a right good chat with him. Yeah, I said it yesterday, I'm quite envious of his trip in the next few days, heading north up the Pennines. Yeah, good stuff that. I hope he has a good time. Anyway, thanks for watching, look after yourselves, and I'll see you next time.